My name is Prue Sanders, and the topic I've chosen related to environmental sustainability is the effects of mining on the Great Barrier Reef. I've chosen this topic due to recent media attention into coral bleaching and the peril the reef currently faces due to our greenhouse gas emissions. Globally, our carbon dioxide emissions have risen by about 4% a year in the decade leading up to 2012, and it's estimated 25 to 30% of carbon dioxide emitted by burning fossil fuels is absorbed by the ocean. These emissions make the atmosphere and ocean temperature warmer, which causes the algae feeding the coral to eject, leaving it to starve. Alongside these worrying statistics is the approval of a mega mine in Queensland and associated port expansion projects along Queensland's coast, right near the reef. Port expansion projects require dredging, which can harm the reef and the ecosystems around the reef. More must be done to explore alternative sources of energy like wind and solar, which are not destructive to the reef. The biggest issue with this topic in regards to environmental sustainability is the development of renewable sources is not comparable to the depletion of the non-renewable sources. Another issue is the waste generation from projects such as mining, including dredging on site and subsequently the greenhouse gas emissions. Both have a detrimental effect on the reef. I've been trying to locate credible sources to base my research on. The most useful I've found so far is a conservation letter written last year which directly discusses this topic and assesses cumulative impacts. One issue I've found throughout my research is the bias displayed in some media releases with sensationalised headlines. It's been interesting noticing some parties downplaying the demise of the reef whilst others make accusations nothing is being done to help the reef. UNESCO lists the Great Barrier Reef on their World Heritage List, and the decision to exclude this site from their endangered list caused great speculation. I went straight to that primary source for an explanation as to why. Another issue I've had with this topic is a lot of hypothetical information dependent on whether the Carmichael mine in Queensland becomes operational. Again, there have been lots of sensationalised media releases about this mine. However, research has shown there are over 200 conditions attached to the 3 leases for this particular mine. Another aspect I've been researching is the effects of dredging from port expansion, which is proposed for several Queensland ports near the reef. The website Fight for the Reef, although being a secondary source, provides lots of relevant and useful information. More research has also been undertaken in the steps governing bodies such as the Australian Maritime Safety Authority are taking, for example, identifying the reef as a particularly sensitive sea area and issuing conditions about how ships must travel whilst in these zones. Lastly, a lot of information I found was quite dated, which meant I needed to keep searching until I found more recent and therefore relevant details. I've done a lot of reading and now I need to start connecting all the information I've obtained in preparation for Assignment 3. I've done significant research into the proposed effects of port expansion, such as dredging and the increase of ship traffic, as well as research into the resultant emissions of these materials into the atmosphere and the ocean. I acknowledge the area I need to research further is other energy sources. I've only undertaken minor research so far into substitutes such as solar and wind. Significant research has also been undertaken into actions taken by state and federal government, as well as other organisations in response to bleaching events and to ensure it's being protected. More research needs to be undertaken into why these parties took so long to act. A proposed reason which needs further investigation is because the evidence can no longer be ignored due to the mass bleaching events that have occurred. The public no longer identifies this threat as a possibility and now associates it as being real. The Australian curriculum has identified science as one of 8 learning areas and supports the development of scientific knowledge and equips students with the skills to make informed decisions about issues such as climate change, mining and the decline of the Great Barrier Reef. I believe year levels 4 and 5 are suitable to this topic as shown for the reasons on the slide. I selected one content descriptor from each of the 3 strands.